Have you ever wondered how the uterus functions during the process of implantation? Let's dive into this three-layered wonder. The wall of the uterus is composed of three layers: the endometrium, the myometrium, and the perimetrium. Each layer plays a crucial role in the reproductive process. The endometrium, or mucosa lining the inside wall, particularly stands out. From puberty until menopause, this innermost layer undergoes changes in a cycle of approximately 28 days under hormonal control by the ovaries. During this menstrual cycle, the uterine endometrium passes through three stages: the follicular or proliferative phase, the secretory or progestational phase, and the menstrual phase. The endometrium's role doesn't stop there. If fertilization takes place, it assists in implantation and contributes to the formation of the placenta. The endometrium, fascinatingly, assists in implantation and contributes to the formation of the placenta if fertilization takes place. Stay tuned for more on the secretory phase and implantation. At the time of implantation, the uterus is in its secretory phase. This is a crucial time when the uterine glands and arteries become coiled and the tissue of the endometrium becomes succulent. It's during this phase that we see the formation of three distinct layers within the endometrium: the superficial compact layer at the top, the intermediate spongy layer in the middle, and the thin basal layer at the base. These layers provide a nurturing environment for the implantation of the human blastocyst. Typically, the blastocyst implants itself in the endometrium along the anterior or posterior wall of the uterus, embedding itself between the openings of the glands. But what happens if the oocyte isn't fertilized? Well, that's a different story altogether. Instead of preparing for implantation, the uterus prepares for a different process, one that's equally fascinating and crucial to the cycle of life. If the oocyte isn't fertilized, we see a different process unfold. So what happens when the oocyte is not fertilized? Well, the body has a plan for that too. Venules and sinusoidal spaces gradually fill to the brim with blood cells, marking the start of what we call the menstrual phase. This is when blood escapes from the superficial arteries and small fragments of stroma and glands begin to break away. Over the course of about 3 or 4 days, the compact and spongy layers of the endometrium are expelled from the uterus. It's a bit like the body tidying up, getting ready for the next cycle. But there's one part that sticks around: the basal layer. This thin layer, nourished by its own dedicated arteries, the basal arteries, doesn't leave the party. The basal layer, with its own supply of arteries, serves as the regenerative layer in the rebuilding of glands and arteries in the proliferative phase. It's the foundation from which the uterus can start anew, preparing for the next potential implantation.